I wanted to hop on here and talk about something that I have been struggling with a little unknowingly. And I say unknowingly because it's something that has actually come up in conflict a lot with my partner, Rob, because it's something that I didn't fully realize that I was struggling with. And it's been hard to come to a place of having insight around. And that is around my capacity and having awareness of what my own capacity is and figuring out how to balance aspects of my life to fit within that capacity. I actually brought this up briefly in one of our online peer support groups, on our online peer support community, and it seemed to resonate with other people. And so that made me kind of realize, okay, it's probably not just me going through this. And so that's kind of why I wanted to share a little bit more about this on the channel. I guess to start with, some context around this is that I think that I am a person who gets really, really excited about new interests and passions and projects that I want to do. And I just get really excited and want to apply myself to these things as much as possible, which is, I think, a good thing, but it's kind of ignoring the realities of my more limited capacity living with a chronic illness like schizoaffective disorder. And I think I get caught up here in terms of understanding my own capacity in the context of what it maybe was pre-diagnosis or pre-symptoms. I have it in my head that I am capable of taking on all these projects and doing them at the same capacity as I used to, or as other people that I see doing these things are. And I think for me anyway, it's been really, really hard to wrap my mind around the fact that my capacity has been reduced and that I just don't have the same, I feel like I'm overusing this word, but capacity to, apply myself the way I feel that I can or the way that I want to. I mentioned that it's kind of created some conflict between my partner and I. And this kind of rears its head in terms of when I don't have insight into the fact that I am operating outside of my own capacity and I'm kind of running myself into the ground and, ultimately also running my partner and my family into the ground, or maybe not running them into the ground, but letting balls drop because I can't keep all of the balls that I am trying to juggle in the air. And so that's where the conflict comes into play, where Rob, my partner, tries to point out hey, you need to reel it in and operate within your capacity. And so, I feel like I've been overusing that term because I don't know another term to describe it, but I kind of became a little bit triggered by the word capacity because it felt like he was telling me, I don't believe you can do these things. And you can't do these things. And that hurt, because I have these passions and interests and dreams that I want to work toward. And so when it felt like someone was telling me, no, you can't do that, it was hard to take. And it was, I think, even harder to then get to a place where I could understand that my capacity is different than it used to be, or different than other people that I see doing these things that I want to be doing. And I think it's important to note that he was not telling me that he didn't believe I could do these things or that I couldn't do these things. It was merely more pointing out to me that I needed to have more awareness about what my capacity is so that I could more effectively apply myself to the various things that I wanted to apply myself to. And it's kind of like that spoons analogy where, you have a certain amount of spoons in a day and, taking a shower is 2 spoons, going to work or whatever is 3 spoons. And you ultimately run out of spoons the more tasks you do and the more you apply yourself to the things you want to do. And then what do you do when you run out of spoons? And so understanding that more, that I have a limited amount of spoons, a limited amount of capacity to apply myself to the things that I wanted to do and to be more intentional about how I wanted to apply myself was, I think, an important thing to come to understand. And I don't think I'm in a place of fully understanding and effectively being able to operate within my capacity, but I think that it's something that I'm really working on. And it's something that I think is important to try to understand better. I think that a lot of people who are navigating a chronic illness like schizoaffective, like schizophrenia, have this kind of, this differing view of what their capacity is because they had a different kind of capacity pre-diagnosis, pre-illness. And now trying to wrap your head around what it is now is a hard thing to do. And I think that there's a bit of a grieving process there as well, in terms of grieving the capacity you once had and the way you used to be able to live your life, and how that is different now can be a sad and hard thing to wrap your head around. But I think it's important to note that it doesn't have to be this sad thing. You know, it's important to grieve it if you feel that it is a loss, but it really doesn't need to be looked at as a deficit. I think there's room to just view it as, I just have to modify my life a little bit, and I have to modify the way I apply myself to the things I want to do and the things I want to accomplish and whatnot. And the way I get to those goals that I have is just going to look a little bit different than it did pre-diagnosis, pre-illness. And that's okay. For me, anyway, I think it's going to continue to be this really kind of difficult balancing act of balancing the things that I want to accomplish and the goals that I want to achieve with the reality of my capacity, and kind of trying to bring these two together in a way where they can cohesively exist and where I can, operate within my current capacity while still working towards these goals and accomplishments that I want to achieve. And so this is just something that I'm currently struggling a little bit with, or maybe struggling is the wrong word, I guess more learning how to manage, learning how to navigate. And, like I said, it came up that other people were experiencing this too in our peer support group. And so I thought, hey, maybe it's important to share about this so that perhaps there's other people out there who can relate, who can feel maybe less alone in that struggle, because, it's pretty easy trying to wrap your head around a different kind of capacity that you now have to get really down on yourself and to be like, well, why can't I do these things that other people are doing? Or why can't I do what I used to be able to do? And I think it's very easy to fall into this kind of negative mindset of, well, I'm lazy, I'm incompetent, and that negative self-talk about why it is that you're not able to do it in the way you used to be able to do it, or in the way that other people are doing it. And I think that's really doing yourself a disservice. And I want to really encourage you to try not to fall into that, because, you're not alone. Other people who are navigating chronic illnesses are also experiencing this too. I am experiencing this too. And I'm really working on how to reframe it into just being a difference. I need to adjust the way I do things, and it's not so much a deficit as a difference. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any other thoughts on this, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, I mentioned our online peer support group in this video, and so if that's something that interests you, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page in the description below, where you then gain access to our online peer support community. Thank you so much for watching this video again, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.